Yona Putkivano, Hujvaj. All right. Just sorry about the earlier mishap with the live stream going dead on me. But I don't know what happened. I ran out of data, or the internet connection wasn't good, or something. One or the other. But anyway, I didn't want to leave you. I didn't want to leave you hanging there, and I don't remember what I was talking about before, but the I think I was talking about some of the travel plan considerations and what have you. But I woke up this morning, and the title of the earlier video, the title of the earlier live stream that I since deleted was on the life of fence, or on the fence of life, or something like that. Being on the fence of life, and what to do, and all that type of stuff. And yeah, I get some great advice from people. I really, really do. I get some great advice, and the challenge that I face, and I think I'm no different than everybody else in this, is that when you're making decisions in life, the tendency in the human nature is to make decisions in life based upon fear, what you're afraid of what could happen. And that's what people often do. They'll make decisions on, they will let fear dictate their course in life. And not to say that I'm much different from anybody else. I'm not. I'm just I put on my pants the same way that everybody else does in the morning. Sometimes I try to get my pants on over my head, but that was more back in the day when I was drinking and smoking and all that stuff. But now I put my pants on pretty regularly. I get up and I slip one leg through one side and one leg through the other, just like everybody else. I don't try to put my pants on from the heads up like I may have, at one point in time in my life. But anyway, so fear is a thing that often allows people, or people often allow to charter their course through life, and it's something that I try to be really, really conscientious of when I'm making an important decision. When I'm making an important decision in life, I try to discern, is it fear? Is it ultimately fear that is, leading me down this direction or that direction? Or is it wisdom and common sense and information? Is it an informed decision? But I gotta tell you, with the whole situation going on in the world, I struggle. I struggle with what to do. As a matter of fact, last night I let curiosity get the better of me, and I went online and I did a search for a ticket to fly from Melbourne to Los Angeles, and there's no shortage of tickets, and they're rather cheap, $500. I could fly to Melbourne, or I could drive to Melbourne and head to the airport, or next Monday when I drop Michelle off at the airport to go home to Brisbane. I could easily get on a plane at this point in time. I could easily get on a plane for $500 and fly 14 hours overnight. And that would probably give me a good opportunity to watch Gone with the Wind finally. I could probably watch, so you gotta find the good in everything, so a 14-hour flight. I've never seen Gone with the Wind. I think it's 5 hours or something like that. So that would take up a good portion of the flight. But I struggle with it. I really struggle with it. And I called there's only a handful of people. What's interesting is that I have uh, probably, on a personal level, there's probably only about 5 people in this world that I would go to for advice in relation to business, in relation to business, in relation to personal life, in relation to spirituality or guidance, spiritual guidance. I can count on one hand the amount of people. Boy, we're having some problems today with the connections. But I can count on one hand the people that I go to for advice. One of my clients, his name is Jim. If I have a question about religion or God or something like that, I might go to Jim for that advice. I have another a friend of mine. Her name is Linda, and you could read the two sequel. There you go. But I could. Linda is a person that just is common sense advice. Linda is a person that I might go to for common sense advice. My client Peter was certified, or Lee, for example, with ABC. I might go to for business advice. And my brother, my one of my brothers, without mentioning his name, one of my brothers, and a matter of fact, unfortunately, he's the only brother that I talk to. I've got five brothers. We could have a basketball team, and I could sit the bench, like I always did back in the day. I always rode the bench. But with five brothers, six of us boys, we could have a basketball team if we all got along. But unfortunately, we don't all get along, and but I don't want to go down that path. But there's one of my five brothers that I talk to, and on the outside chance that any of my other five brothers that I don't talk to watch these videos, boy, I sure miss you guys. I really do. I mean, I wish you'd pick up the phone and call me and say hello. But anyway, but so I was talking with one of my brothers today, and I asked him. I said, boy, I'm struggling with this. And he said, why are you struggling? He said, just stay where you're at. He said, don't come back. He said, stay where you're at. He said, it seems to be a nice place. It seems to be okay. He said, why would you come back? He said, just stay down there. And I tend to agree with him. And I told him, I said, the challenging thing for me is it's easy to make that decision here at the moment. It's easy to make that decision here and now, but the challenge is that, as quickly as this thing is evolving and story is developing, the $1 million question is, what's it going to be like in 2 or 3 months? So whereas now it may seem the good idea to stay here, to stay put, while that may be the logical idea and what have you, it's the unknown. It's the unknown of what could transpire. Boy, I'm just throwing these 50-cent words out there today, left and right, aren't I? What could transpire? Most people would say, it's what could happen, but no, me, I say what could transpire, because it makes me sound smarter, right? Yeah, it makes me sound smarter. I throw in big words like that sometimes just to make me look smarter. But that doesn't fool Michelle. Michelle's a school teacher. She throws in 50. You have a wise brother, mate. I have one friend. Jesus, pray, and yeah. So anyway, so what this brother told me was probably some of the best advice that I've gotten. He told me, he said, call the American consulate. That's what he said. He said, call the American consulate in Australia and see what they say. And I thought, you know what? It's a good idea, mate. And he said, I like when you call me mate. And I said, I'll do that. He said, well, call them and tell me what they say. So I did. I called the American consulate in Canberra. I wish Melbourne was as easy to pronounce as Canberra. But anyway, so I called the consulate and I heard all these options and it said press 0 for operator. And I got the operator and she had that Aussie accent that I just love. And we were talking and she said, listen, I said, I'm an American. I said, I'm here in Australia and, and I'm undecided on what to do. You know, should I go home or should I stay? Should I stay or should I go now? Isn't that a song? Should I stay or should I go now? I think it is. Good day, mate. Melbourne. Okay. Anyway, but anyway, so the operator told me to go to travel.state.gov, travel.state.gov, travel.state.gov. And I went there, and right up at the top, there was a big yellow thing that said, you know, coronavirus something or another. And I clicked on it, and then she said, do you see the big blue boxes on the right-hand side? And I said, yeah. And she said, you should register for STEP, which is Start Smart Traveler Enrollment Program or something like that, STEP. Enroll for STEP. And I did. I enrolled for STEP. And I gave them my contact information, my passport, everything. So now, you know, I'm on the need to know. You know, I will get emails and I'll get text messages and information. So in addition to Carlo, you know, who's my eyes and ears here in Australia, in addition to Carlo keeping me updated, now I have the United States State Department keeping me updated on situations and what have you. But anyway, so you know, I'm just up in the air. I really am. And you know, I gotta tell you, I'm sitting on the fence, but my feet are dangling. My feet are dangling on this side of the ocean, the ocean of Australia, or the side of the fence of Australia. It's on this side of the road and not, or this side of the fence and not the other side of the fence. And then as far as travel plans go, you know, the only plans that I really have is tomorrow morning going to Bendigo, which is 3 hours. And I'm really debating whether I want to drive in the morning. I was thinking I'd get up at 5 in the morning and drive to Bendigo. And I'm thinking, you know, driving the highway at 5 o'clock in the morning in the dark, there's all types of critters down here in Australia. And when I was driving from the Blue Mountains down here, there was no shortage of roadkill. There was no shortage of big kangaroos and I saw these other animals like wombats and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, do I really want to be driving down the road at 5 o'clock in the morning in Australia, you know, hoping and praying, you know, that I'm not going to meet don't they call him a Joey or something like that? So I may actually wait. I may wake up and put in a full 8 hours day work, you know, wake up at 5 or 6 and work until 2 or 3 or something, and then do the 3 hour drive to Bendigo in the late afternoon, and arrive there and spend 2 nights in Bendigo. And you know, the lovely Denise, and that's with the capital L. The lovely Denise, she sent me a text message that says, you know, I really got to do this. I got to go see this town. I got to go see that town and stuff. And it's like, you know, I wish I had the time. I wish I had the time to be going around and doing stuff. I barely have the time to do these videos. I barely have the time to sit here and do these chat videos, but let alone to go visit you know, all these wonderful places. And you know, that's where so you're not scared of coronavirus, but you're scared of the critters on the road. Last my yeah, I'm not scared of the no. I mean, as far as coronavirus, uh, you know, you talk about being scared of what is there to be scared of with coronavirus? I mean, if I were a frail elderly person, if I were a frail elderly person, or if I was somebody that had a significantly compromised immune system, okay, then yeah, hell yeah, I would be terrified of coronavirus. Absolutely. But I'm not a, well, I'm an old person, but I'm not frail. Not quite yet. You saw me going down the steps the other day at the grand staircase at the Three Sisters. A frail old person wouldn't be able to do that. I'm an old person, but I'm not frail. So if I were a frail old person, then yeah, I'd probably be terrified of the coronavirus or what have you. But I think it just comes to wisdom. You know, the thought of driving down a road in the dark, you know, with knowing that knowing a big ass kangaroo could jump out in front of the road. I mean, that's not as much about being afraid as it is using a little common sense. You know, taking an unnecessary risk. You know, that's just taking an unnecessary risk. I don't have to drive it at 5 o'clock in the morning to get to Bendigo. If I did have to drive to Bendigo at 5 o'clock in the morning, then I would man up and I would do the 5 o'clock drive, 5 a.m. drive to Bendigo. But you know, I'm at the point in time in my life where I don't take unnecessary risk. It's not necessary to take an unnecessary risk. And if I can do the 3 hour drive from, say, 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock and see the scenery as opposed to driving at 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, 5 o'clock to 8, and two of the, you know, an hour and a half of that time or 2 hours of that time be driving in the dark and missing all the beautiful rolling hills and pastures and grazing cattle and the occasional roadkill on the side of the road. And you like go and say, ooh, look at that. That's a big kangaroo. You know, there's something to be said about that. I mean, when you're not from Australia and you're driving down the road and you see a big ass dead kangaroo on the side of the road, there's something cool about that. You know, back in the States, you know, you see a roadkill, it's like a deer. You know, it's like, oh, there's another deer. But here, you're a Yank and you're driving down the road and you see a kangaroo, and it's like, holy cow, that was a kangaroo, you know? But anyway, it just comes to logic, you know? So whoever that was that made the comment about I'm not afraid of coronavirus, but I'm afraid of kangaroos, it's called unnecessary risk. You know, you reach a point in life. I don't know if it's as much of a unnecessary risk as it is a a little bit of wisdom. With age comes experience. Experience comes, or yeah, age, experience, knowledge, wisdom. Kangaroos can do a lot of damage to a car. I know they can. I can imagine. I can imagine that they can do a lot of damage to a car. And that's the last thing that I need to deal with. So it's not a matter of being afraid, it's a matter of being wise, you know. And I've got enough age and experience and knowledge and wisdom to know that it's probably better to do a scenic drive late in the afternoon than it is to do an early morning drive. But anyway, why the hell am I spending 20 minutes of my morning talk on kangaroos on the side of the road? But anyway, so getting back, you know, the other thing that I did today was I was talking to the lovely Denise, and that's a lovely with a capital L. I was talking with the lovely Denise, and she was telling me that if I wanted to go to Australia or New Zealand, that I'd have to self-isolate for 14 days and I'd be on the honor system, which I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay. I'm an honest guy, but I'd be on the honor system. But they would allocate me to get from point A to point B. So it's not like I land in Wellington and I got to go stay in a Motel 6. Do they have Motel 6s in New Zealand? No, I don't think so. But I'd have to stay in, you know, like a hotel for 14 days in Wellington. That's not the case. because I could travel to where I'm going to and then self-isolate for 14 days. So I called these self-service apartments in Lake Wanaka today. Beautiful furnished apartments. They have the jacuzzi and everything. And I said, do you think I could self-isolate there? And she said, yeah, you probably could. And I said, are you close to the lake? And she said, about 1 kilometer. I said, really? That's half a mile. I could walk to the lake in the morning and I could sit cross-legged and I could pinch my fingers like this and I could meditate, you know? And she said, yeah, you probably could do that. You probably could do that. So anyway, we will see. We will see. I went online last night and I was looking at videos of Tasmania to get a feel of, is that what I want? Is that where I want to go? What is it appealing to me as far as going and spending 2 weeks or something? I was looking at videos of Tasmania, and although it looks great, it looks great. I don't know necessarily that that's necessarily where I want to go. And I did a video. I looked in Perth. I looked up, Perth, and I thought, boy, that looks nice. Perth looks really, really nice. And I thought maybe I'll go to Perth. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just all over the place. I'm just absolutely all over the place. And you know what? This morning I woke up this morning and there was a live press conference going on in the United States. And I got to tell you that, can you imagine? I mean, just imagine for a moment that you and I, we're all dealing with all the different aspects of this coronavirus. How to take care of our families, how to, considerations of our income, considerations of all of that type of stuff. But and that in and by itself is a challenge. But close your eyes for a moment, okay? I'll wait. Are they closed? You got to mark, close your eyes. Okay. So close your eyes for a moment and try to put yourself in the shoes of somebody like the President of the United States or any one of the other people whose responsibility it is to guide us through this challenging course in our history. I mean, imagine that. Imagine that responsibility. They have the same responsibilities, the family, dealing with the family, dealing with, all the other stuff, that all of us are dealing with. But they have the responsibility of the collective whole. They have can you imagine trying to sleep at night when you have the responsibility for and I know that they took that responsibility upon themselves, and that's all well and good, but just put political partisanship aside for a moment and just think about that. Think about what those people that we've entrusted with our with our well-being, if you will, what their life must be like, wanting to make the best decisions and knowing that the decisions that they make could ultimately have disastrous effects or wonderful events. Something's, I don't know what that is in the background. I don't know, something's playing on my computer or something. I don't know if it's like an emergency public service announcement or something. Something was just playing. But anyway, these people like Trump. I was telling my brother, I said, you look back historically, and what our president is facing right now, what our president's administration is facing right now, is on par with some of the greatest challenges that ever faced our nation. World War II, World War I, the Spanish flu, Vietnam. the world, the September 11th. You know what our president is facing right now is right up there with the most significant challenges that have ever been faced by a sitting president, and that holds true to all governments across the world. And you just hope and pray that they're making the right decisions, and it's not always easy to make the right decision in such a situation as this. But anyway, I don't know what that is. I don't know if that noise is coming from outside or where that noise is coming from. But anyway, but I was watching that this morning. I was watching that press conference, and I was just thinking to myself, am I this is like something out of a movie. I don't know what that noise is. Maybe we need to evacuate. I don't know. But I wonder if I could take my laundry out before we evacuate. But anyway, and I don't mean to make light of the situation, not by any stretch of the imagination. And in wrapping up this video, I will tell you that earlier today, I was thinking that I just lost my trend of thought. Oh, I was trying to decide whether or not I should continue doing the videos. What is it like, it was like Gwyneth Paltrow, on her show, the same Gwyneth Paltrow that was selling vagina scented candles. Remember that? I got scolded by Michelle for putting a link up to that on Facebook. Michelle scolded me, and she said, "Why would you put a link up to vagina scented candles?" And I said, "Well, that's what Gwyneth Paltrow was selling." And it seemed like a funny thing to put up there. It seemed rather funny, to put up a link to this absurd thing. But Gwyneth Paltrow, she got scolded because she was promoting something like, I don't know, $6,000 pair of boots or something like that. And they were saying that it was insensitive to the whole, situation with the coronavirus or something. And I find myself thinking, am I being insensitive? I'm doing a video of a dog on a Tucker box and debating a woman whether it's tomato sauce or tomato sauce. Am I being insensitive, to that whole thing and what have you? So when I go do the Great Ocean Road, and I'm flying my drone around the 12 apostles or whatever it is that they call that. I think it's the 12 apostles. When I'm flying my drone around and putting it up with wonderful little music and all that kind of stuff, am I being insensitive to those of you out there that it's just struggling with all that, or is it a distraction? Are my videos a much needed and welcome distraction to the challenges that we're facing? But anyway, with all that being said, I need to go and find out what the hell this beeping is. I don't know if that's coming across my computer or what have you. But anyway, and just on another note, I got to tell you that as far as yesterday this is getting serious. Hang on a second. Let me see what this is. What is going on? This is the view out my window, and I don't know what's going on here. Something's happening, folks. Okay. I'm going to have to figure this out. I got to go figure out. But anyway, I did my video yesterday. I was taking my temperature and all that stuff. And my temperature and my sore throat. Almost overnight, I don't have a sore throat. I don't have a cough. I don't have any, I'm still overweight, but I'm working on that. My dad, bless his heart, he used to always want to get down to that's the trivia question. You know that boy that trivia question is worth a $20 Starbucks gift card. You know, what was the weight? What was the weight that my dad, for all the years that I spent with my dad, what was the weight that he wanted to get down to? He always had this number in mind that he was going to get down to this weight, and it was the same weight that he was when he was the a boxing champion at Cleveland or something like that. And I always used to tease him about it. You know, I used to always tease him about, you know, he'd say that, I'd offer him some ice cream and I'd say, what about your goal of your weight? You know, and he said, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. That's what I'm going to say to Michelle all weekend. Anytime Michelle says anything about my weight, I'm just going to say, I'm working on it. That's it. I'm working on it. All right. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. I love you. I love all of you. All right. Even those of you out there that give me a hard time. You know. Hmm. I love you all, as my dear dad, rest his soul, would say. All right. Take good care.